Hello and welcome to Paxton Road TV. I am Sam, Spurs for Life, and this is Talking Points, episode number 39, by the way. And tonight we are going to discuss, let us get this topic up. Should Conte drop Harry Kane to improve Spurs' attack? Harry Kane, we know, hasn't performed to the level that we know. There's maybe a number of reasons for that. And we are joined in the house by residents, as always, Mike-Hotspur Hustler, Darius352K. And we're joined by none other than Jack Kaniki and also the Irish Hotspur. These two together, the flat cap. What do you call yourself? Is it the flat cap army? What is it? No, it's the Harris Army. It's the flat cap. What was it?
Army.
Black Cap Army
multiple
as well.
Armies, multiple divisions of the armies.
So you got
multiple battalions.
Different brigades.
I may be a lieutenant as part of the army.
I didn't realise it was the Irish. It was the Harris Army and the Flat Cap Army, different battalions. Anyway, let's not deal with that right now. We've got other things to talk about. More importantly, we've got to deal with this Harry Kane situation. Right then, gentlemen, let's get straight into it then. Let's open it with what we've talked about, what the actual title of the show is. The title of the show, should Conte drop Harry Kane to improve Spurs' attack? And we'll start with Jack, Flat Cap Euro Talk. Talk to me.
I mean, I guess my opening statement probably might be just to say that it feels like, we're so quick to slam the Mr. Harry Kane. Probably a lot of us, have a bit of a soft spot for certain players. I got my soft spot for Tanguy.
Jack, can I just stop you there before you carry on? That camera is magnificent.
That
that camera makes you look magnificent.
I need to do a teeth whitening, though. It makes me need to do a bit more teeth whitening. Maybe because I'm drinking coffee right now. Maybe because I'm drinking coffee right now. But definitely need to get a new beard comb like yourself. Need to get. I'm noticing all the imperfections. But
you are looking sharp, Jack.
He's looking sharp, isn't he? He's looking sharp. You carry on, Jack. Sorry about that. I just had to put it in. Had to get that one in there.
Appreciate it. Now I'm going to blush probably a bit, but I was going to say, I feel like we all got our little soft spots for certain players. We all have players that we have all the time in the world for. For me, it's probably Tanguy. I know for Sid, it's Mr. Dele Alli. I know for some people, it's Gio. For some, it's Steven Bergwijn and whatnot. But it feels like, we've been very, very quick to, kind of hammer Harry Kane, maybe because of, what's happened over the summer. That's probably decently fair. But at the same time, I feel like the guy has earned maybe 5 years, 6 years of credit in the bank, and he's going through his first bad patch maybe ever. And then all of a sudden, we're quick to slam him. We're quick to say, he's not in the right mindset. We're quick to say, he's never going to return to the same. Some are saying, the age is starting to hurt him. And it just feels a bit unwarranted. It feels like also maybe another part of the opening statement that maybe I might have is just, you feel like you have that much credit in the bank. You probably have kind of, carried your own weight for that long. I feel like any aspect of life, you guys, if you're kind of carrying your own weight, no one else has been carrying their weight for the past few seasons. You probably go into things maybe getting a little bit deflated, kind of don't really feel like pushing, your kind of your weight anymore. And I feel like that's what maybe is going for Harry Kane right now. Just a bit of conflict of, just realizing that, he's kind of finally, hitting a bad patch, but we're so quick to slam him for it, while other players, haven't been lifting their weight for quite some time.
That's a very good point. We are quick to maybe judge Harry Kane over the period that we've had so far. 10 Premier League games, obviously with the Euro games as well, and a few EFL Cup games in there as well. But I think the question has to be asked because of the numbers that he's done before. All the previous seasons going back some way, the standards are high. And I think that's what it is. When you've got high standards, and obviously with the situation over the summer, which we'll get into as well, maybe that's what people are looking at. But I'm just going to go through a few comments.
Used to it,
Yeah. Michael Battle's saying yes. Maybe he's saying yes to dropping him. And then you will see if there's a difference. So I'll come to David. What's your thoughts? Should Conte drop Harry Kane?
No way.
Simple as that.
I was going to say, don't embarrass me like this. Put me up on the big screen after Jack. But no, look. When it comes to Harry Kane, look, it'd be a different story if everyone else was scoring goals and we were creating chances. We were getting lots of balls into the box, and Harry Kane was just missing them or non-existent. I would say, okay, fair enough. But the thing is, nobody else is scoring right now. And the facts remain, and I know people are going to argue with it, but he's still our club's top scorer this season. I know you can say Europa Conference League and stuff like that, but he was called upon and he scored the goals. And in Europa Conference League, he was provided with the chances and he took them. You know, at the end of the day, our creativity is lacking. All of our attacking stats are more or less relegation form right now. And look, it takes a unit to be able to do that, not just one player. I get it; he's a special player, but look, I'll be honest with you. You're seeing Son's performances decline, Lucas' performances decline right now. So it's not just a one-player issue. But the reason why we make it a one-player issue is because he's made himself an open, easy target after everything in the summer. You know, the fact that he hasn't played well, people are going to say he doesn't love the club and all, which I'll be honest with you, I still think he loves the club. I liken it to, like, you know, everyone's had relationships before. You know what I mean? You may not like be with them anymore, but you still have love for them, or you still hope they're doing okay and stuff like that.
It all depends on how it goes in the relationship.
Well, that's true.
I'll tell you that much.
That's true. But look, Harry Kane, he still does love Tottenham. But look, we're just not creating the chances. We're not really having any shots. We're not popping off shots around outside the box. But even the last 2 games under Conte, here's where my problem is with the whole thing. You know, people are coming out after the Vitesse game still having a go at Harry Kane. He was involved in 2 of the goals, heavily involved. And all the other times he was picking up free kicks, he was being abused. It was like he was in SmackDown, in WWE at times. You know what I mean? It was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, against Everton, you know, there's a clear plan that, you know, get the ball into Harry Kane's feet. But right now, in a way, he's kind of being asked to kind of create and score goals. It's impossible to do. The only way it worked out was under Jose Mourinho, when Kane was dropping deep, picking up the ball, and someone was making the runs in behind. And then maybe Kane was catching up with play a little bit. But teams have worked out how to stop that. You know, it's very easy to stop that. You just put another man in front of Harry Kane and stop that pass into him all day long. And right now, like I said, I just think it's very easy. People are just very easy going at Harry Kane right now. We need to drop him. But the thing is, we say drop him. Bergwijn's not coming in and getting the goals. No. He's not creating any either. Lucas Moura, you could put him up there, or you could put him what? He's not creating or really scoring any goals. You know, you could say bring in Dele Alli. He's not creating or scoring any goals. Lo Celso's not. And then Ndombele's not. So what other option do you have but to stick with him? And I echo what Jack has said. This guy has given everything for the last 5-6 years. Absolutely everything. Got every ounce of energy out of himself. You know what I mean? He's even represented this club when he's been absolutely bollocks, injured and everything else. And we're quick to turn on him in his first bad patch. But then I hear people saying, give Dyer a chance. Give Davies a chance. I'm sorry, but I like to give winners a chance. I like to give legends a chance. I like to give people that have the right attitude and that perform week in, week out a chance. Not losers like some of these players. For me, I just think we have to stick with Harry Kane. I think it's just going to take time. But you also have to look at it. Go look at the England squad that went to the Euros. You could probably pick 2 players out of there that are actually at their level right now. None of them are performing.
This is what I've mentioned. Yeah, I think mentioned this
Only
before
Rice,
on previous
really.
shows. You know, so there's a number of players that play
Foden and Rice, maybe the only ones
that have just not performing, and fatigue could definitely be a factor in that, David. Sorry, Karen, if you carry on.
Yeah, and like, obviously, I just think, look, I compiled with a lot of disappointment. You know, of think about this for Harry Kane: League Cup semi-finals, finals, FA Cup semi-finals, league run-ins, Champions League, now the Euros with England, Nations League disappointment. You know what I mean? Maybe all that is playing on him as well. We have to stick with the guy. We have no other option right now. We can say, yeah, let's drop Kane, bring in Steven Bergwijn, let's go and press teams. You know, but Conte didn't want them to press at the weekend. Conte put them into a nice compact shape when we didn't have the ball, made us hard to break down. At the end of the day, Harry Kane, if anyone is going to get the goals in this team in a goal crisis and a creative crisis, you're going to put your money on Harry Kane to do it. You have to stick with him. You have to find a way. It would be a different story if he was getting service and missed chances, but he's not. There's just absolutely nothing coming in.
Okay. Well, I said I want to get around everybody to get their viewpoint firstly. I've got my viewpoint, which I'll come to in a little while. But I'm going to come to Mike next before Darius. Mike, what's your thoughts? Should Harry Kane be dropped?
No, I echo what David says and Jack. I wouldn't drop Harry Kane. Firstly, if you're going to drop Harry Kane, who is a world-class finisher, realistically, who are you going to put in his place? I know the argument is, you put Son through the middle, drop Kane, and then put, I don't know, Hill, or there's talks of Moura or whoever it is on the Bergwijn out on the left. But Tottenham, if you look on paper and you haven't got Harry Kane in the team, it does feel like a weakened side going forward. Now, my argument with this, with the whole Harry Kane saga, is form's temporary and class is permanent. And the only way for Harry Kane to get out of this bad form is to play through the bad patch, and he will come good. But like David says, it's all very well dropping Kane and putting Son in the middle and stuff. Yeah, you might find that our press might be better to a certain extent. But if you're not giving Harry Kane the service that he needs to put the ball in the back of the net, then why does anyone think that Son's going to do something that Harry Kane's not? I mean, you look at the Everton game at the weekend, and Son, I can't remember if it was the first or second half, but Son went through and he totally spooned that opportunity that he had, and he put it wide. It probably hit the corner. Well, it's probably closer to the corner flag than it was the goal. So for me, I would, and the fact, like both David and Jack said, Kane has carried us from an attacking perspective. Kane has carried us. He's probably got a bit of backache from carrying the side. So yeah, I just wouldn't drop him. I'd stick with him. He will come good. I mean, even if he's in bad form, you still, if a chance comes his way, you'd still back him to hit the back end. And he has done it. I mean, how many goals has he got so far this term? Is it 12? Just
one
not
in the league. He's got
one in the league, but how many in the
I
cups?
think he's got
eight goals.
8 goals in total, I think he is.
So he's still got 8 goals, and he's going for a bad pat.
Bearing in mind the goals he got were against Moura and Vitesse and whoever it was, I can't remember them. But it's EFL. Sorry,
give him the service. Give him the service, and I would put more organs in him that he'd hit the back of the net. I personally, as I say, I just wouldn't drop him. We're far superior from an attacking perspective with him in the side, even if he is going for a bad patch, than him out the side. Because you look at it from a defender's perspective, from a centre back's perspective. If you're looking at Tottenham, you're like, oh, there's no Harry Kane there. We're going to be in for a relatively easy time if we can keep Son quiet, because he's the only threat that's going to come through the middle. We haven't got to worry about Harry Kane and Son. If you've just got to deal with one of them, it's far easier to deal with than both of them on the pitch, regardless of form. So, yeah, I'd keep Harry Kane in the side. And this nonsense of him falling out of the club or him looking for a move, I honestly don't believe any of that. I think now Conte's come in, we've got a proven winner, proven world-class manager. I think that's enough to sort of sway, if it needed to be swayed, to sway Harry Kane's mind and be like, actually, I might see where this goes with Conte, because if you look at the last 2 games that he's been in charge, there has been a difference in Spurs. Everton, we kept a clean sheet. Probably wouldn't have done that under Nuno. So I think going aside a little bit, but give Conte a little bit of time, let him work on Kane, and I think Kane will get back to his usual self, banging in the goals.
So, Darius, I'm going to come to you next, because listen, I think this show wouldn't be balanced if there wasn't different viewpoints, because mine is certainly going to be different to yours. Darius, what's your thoughts?
I don't think Kane. It's difficult. Kane shouldn't be dropped because he can't be dropped, not necessarily because he should be dropped. Because if we're being honest, Kane's been trash this season, and he was really bad in the Euros as well. I don't care what anybody says. I thought he was awful in the Euros, and he's carried on the form into this season. The only reason he's not been dropped is because we don't have an adequate striker, like everybody's mentioned, to sort of cover for the lack of goals that he's even got. So if we're getting rid of somebody who, and I'm just looking at his stats from the Everton game, he only had 2 shots, which was still the most out of any player, but his passing accuracy was awful. The only person who had worse passing accuracy was Reguilon, and they had the same amount of passes. He had 76% accuracy, and he only made 30 passes or 34 passes in the game. So I think that he isn't playing well, and I don't think that he's sort of his passing accuracy and his passing quality has been good at all this season. And especially during the Nuno time, I think that he felt that he had to do too much, or he had to do a lot for the team in order to sort of rectify the bad form. But with Conte now, I just don't see how he won't score goals if we carry on playing the way we're playing. And with time, the sort of football will only get better, and he will only be given more opportunities. he's important to Conte's system because Conte likes to play over 2 up front. And if he does play over 2 up front, he wants one player to be a bit of a battering ram. Diego Costa, Lukaku. You've got a past experience to look back at that. So he is important to Conte's team, and I do think he will come good. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I would have dropped Harry Kane if we had an adequate striker to bring off the bench and play in his position. But because we don't, there's literally no point. We will be worse off if we do drop him. So it's one of those things where I just think a lot of these players, a lot of our best players, Højbjerg, Son, Kane, even Lloris to an extent, are all very comfortable because they know that if they were to have a bad game or not really play well, they probably won't get dropped because they can't really get dropped. There's not really anybody to replace them. So I don't think it's a case of Kane necessarily not wanting to play for Spurs or not really being good enough or whatever crazy stuff I've seen on Twitter. I think Kane is still a world-class striker, will still bag 25, 30 goals this season if he does turn it around. And I just think that you need to sign players who are, obviously you're not going to find players with the same quality as Kane, but similar quality, that rung below, just to keep him on his toes. Because I do think that competition does breed quality. And if he has got a player, and I keep mentioning his name, like a Dusan Vlahovic, to sort of wait on the wings and give him a bit of competition in that forward role, I think Kane's performance will improve, as I've seen in sort of the right backs improving when Doherty came in, Aurier's form improved, and I didn't think that could happen. So I do think that a lot of these players like Højbjerg, like Kane, are exhausted, are tired from the Euros, but also are very comfortable in their positions, knowing that they probably won't get dropped if they don't play well. So if you bring in players who are similar quality to them in their positions, I think that you probably will see Kane sort of improve. And if he doesn't, he knows that he will be dropped because Conte is the sort of manager that if he does have quality to replace Kane on the bench, he won't sort of say, oh, it's Harry Kane and Tottenham, I'm gonna keep playing you. He will be like, you're not playing well, I've got somebody else who can do that job, I'm gonna play him. So I just think it's a case of bringing in similar quality players to compete with these players who are very, very comfortable in their positions. But apart from that, he can't be dropped. And it'll be very silly if we did drop Harry Kane because there are no shots and no goals coming from anywhere else in the team.
Thing is, you're only as good as your service, aren't you?
But the thing is, like, I also think
that service, you're not going to score goals.
But I also think that he's not that he's restricting the service, but I do think under Nuno he was doing too much and he wasn't just staying in the box. Where when Ndombele's on the pitch, I don't think you need Harry Kane to drop off. And when Ndombele's in that hole, and if he does play in that hole, as much as he isn't sort of the hardest working player, out of everybody in that midfield who has played, he's got the best passing ability and passing quality and accuracy out of everybody. So if you give Ndombele the ball in space and Kane is on the last man making a run, which I've seen him do this season, he will score, as he did against Moura. He's on the last man, he made a run, he scores goals. You get him in the box, you put Reguilón through, you put a quality ball in, and this is another thing that we have to get on, is the quality of passing in the final third. If you improve the quality of passing,
atrocious,
then just being in the box will give yourself opportunity. So I'm not blaming Harry Kane at all. I'm not saying it is his fault, but he has not played well, and I will happily say that he has not played well, and I think that.
Let me get to my perspective. Right. So the question is, should Harry Kane be dropped? And the answer to me should be, it depends. It depends. This is why I say it depends. If it was Nuno, I don't think Nuno had the balls. I don't think he had the gravitas to drop Harry Kane. My perspective is, as an ex-football player, as an ex-coach, as an ex-manager of a team, there is no player that is beyond being dropped to the bench. No player in the world. We've seen it at Man United with players like Ronaldo. We've seen it at PSG with Messi. We've seen it a lot. Kane, I don't remember even the last time. He's probably been subbed a few times. I don't even remember when he's been subbed the majority of times if he's not playing well. He's not been subbed this season as far as I'm aware. Now, we're talking about Harry Kane here. In my opinion, there is definitely something not right with his body language. You can see that. Obviously, that can go down to the move. So why not take him out of the team to see what could happen? In terms of the formation, I agree with you. We haven't got an extra goal scorer that could come in. But the experimentation could be to try a different type of approach to the game. Maybe a bit more of a fluid front three. Again, I'm going back to the same points you've all mentioned. Do we have a natural goal scorer to take over the numbers of goals? Possibly not. Do we have people that can score goals? Yes, we do. So looking at the Manchester City game, which was under Nuno, which is, a bit of a defensive performance, but he got the victory. I saw a lot of fluidity within the way that they played, which suggests to me that there is a way of playing without Harry Kane. Harry Kane, at this moment in time, on the 4-3-3 that we used to play, was dropping into that hole. What seems to be the problem is, with the two holding players that we've got, playing so far behind the front three, it leaves that space which he's thinking of, I need to get into there. Now, if Conte was to maybe adapt the way of playing in the team and get Harry Kane to be in the box, do less work, have less responsibility, and he scores goals, then I'd say, yeah, maybe he should do that. But at the moment, he's not doing any of those things, and his final ball in himself hasn't been good enough. So it's not just his scoring ability, it's his all-round game. Whereas I used to be seeing Harry Kane last season pinging 20, 30, 40-yard balls. He ain't doing that this season. I used to say he's made a couple of threaded balls. A game against, who was it you scored? It was Vitesse, wasn't it? Level of opposition.
You put one into Reguilon as well, who Reguilon should have scored that goal as well.
Level of opposition. Not quite a race, but they were a decent team, but in the UECL. So, my point is,
that.
Should he be dropped? Should he be dropped? Possibly, depends on the formation that we might adapt. If he goes to a 3-5-2, I'm not quite sure if someone like Moura and Son will be a better option. I think Son and Kane will be a better option. But if he's going to play a 3-4-3, I would try Son in the middle and try either side with the wingers that we've got, just to see, as somebody's mentioned earlier. And then we will know.
So, Sam.
Yes.
We've got Leeds next.
Will I drop him for that game?
Will you drop Harry Kane for that game? Yes
Absolutely
or no?
not.
If it was me, and this is only me, and I'm only going to say this, yes. And the reason being is because hold on, let me finish. Let me get my straight way.
It's got to be good.
Yes, it's going to be good. The reason being, Leeds are probably the one team that you can guarantee they're going to be as open as hell. You are guaranteed almost at home to have opportunities to score goals. If Harry Kane was playing well, I'd expect him to score bagful. But let's see if somebody else, let's say Son was playing through the middle and we had Lucas Moura, let's say Gil on the other side, and they were to go off and it be a 0-0, then I would say, you know what? Maybe it is Harry Kane. But if they go and score 2-3 goals at home, because I don't think Leeds is going to be a problem to win that game, in my personal opinion, because of the fact that they are so open and we're at home and they're not really that good this season. So that's a good opportunity to play him to see if he is the man that all you guys are saying he is. That's what I'm saying.
Who's going to score these goals though?
Son is my
at the moment though.
Who's going to get Son the ball? Because the biggest problem is getting Kane the ball. But who's going to get Son the ball? Right.
So this is where Conte, as opposed to Nuno was shocking in terms of what he was doing.
Yeah, forget Nuno. He's done.
Forget Nuno. Conte is a level of he's in a different stratosphere to what Nuno is. So I expect him to be able to find a way within the next couple of weeks as to what's the best way I can get the best out of these players here. Because that was going to be my next point in terms of the question. So he can do something with the players that he's got to see if we can actually get some goal for it. Because at the moment, you're right, we're not getting shots off at goal. But I'm seeing players in the final third making awful passes, including Kane. So I'm not saying it's all him, but we don't know. He never gets dropped. He never gets subbed. So who knows? He's not playing very well at the moment. He's got 1 league goal in 10 appearances. For Harry Kane, if he goes on that, he'll score 4 in 40, if that's the case. And is that good enough for Harry Kane? No, it's not. So, Dave, what's your point? Go on.
No, I was just going to say to you, like, who's going to sit up front and hold up the ball like he's doing? Because at the minute, right, we don't have a midfield that we can play through, that we can play through the lines and get the ball to him. So some of the service that's coming into Kane or even Son over the last couple of games, it's been absolutely shocking. But one thing Kane has done is hold it up. Son's not physical. You've seen against Everton, the amount of challenges he couldn't hold up the ball. He pulled out.
Can't win a header either.
So who's going to hold up the ball to try and get us up the field and try and play out? You have to take that into account too. Because what's going to happen is, you're going to see a bit similar to what happened against City. We were lucky against City. If that game was a couple of weeks later, we would have been absolutely played off the park and humiliated. We were lucky that it came first game of the season. And plus, in fairness, we are a bit of a bogey team for them. But Harry Kane also does a good job of holding up the ball, getting us further up the field, winning free kicks, trying to play us up through the thirds. Because you cannot put Son up there and have Moon Boots kicking him the ball, Davies kicking him the ball. You can't do it because he doesn't have the physicality to hold on to the ball.
So I'm going to. Can I just quickly retort? And I'm going to let you know. I'm just a quick retort. Right. So from what I can see of Conte, how he's played in the previous, he has build-up play. His build-up plays from the back through the thirds into the players. So the long ball for hold-up person isn't really on. I know Lukaku was at play, but if you watched what they did at Inter, it wasn't so much they were smashing balls up to Lukaku. They were very intricate in their way. That's why Lukaku improved. It wasn't because he was like back to goal, holding it up with his chest, turning and smashing them. Yeah. He was very intricate when he was at his previous club before, like Man United. They kind of used him a bit more as a battering ram, and they didn't play to his strengths, but he wasn't improved as he was done at Inter Milan. So I expect if the build-up play within the system that we've got is better, we won't need to have balls smashed up 50, 60 yards to someone who's off their chest, because that is an option to do. Only if you're chasing games. Only if you. I
don't think you have to be chasing games for that to be an option, though. I think it's a solid tactic.
Depends who you're playing against.
It does, but
there's no fluidity in it whatsoever. You can put the ball into Harry Kane. There's no one running in around him for a pass back. Put the ball into Son. There's no one running in around him. Everyone's to do stuff on their own.
Let me ask the question then. Would you want to see Conte adapt to style where we're banging balls up to Harry Kane's chest? Would you want to see that from Antonio Conte? Because I don't want to see that in hell. Not at all. I want to see the build-up play. I want to see them play through the thirds. I want to see them get the ball wide. I want to see him get crosses in. I want to see Harry Kane in the box, nutting them in with his head. I don't want to see him up to, backing up like he's done. I've seen it all before. He's done all that. Great. Fantastic. But that's because we were lacking in the way we were playing. Our build-up play being better than it is now should allow for him to be able to be mobile enough to get in the box and score the goals. That's all I want him to do. Get in the box. Don't drop back.
The only issue you've got, as long as Dyer's in the back line, that ball is getting pumped up. Probably not. Certainly, probably isn't the way that Conte would want us to play. But Dyer being Dyer, he's just got. I think it's probably more a habit than anything. But if anyone's going to pump the ball up, it's going to be him. Hitting it long and high.
I'm not mad at that though. I honestly don't have a problem with that.
That's only good if it's few and far between. If that's your tactic, it's centre backs in England should be able to deal with a long high ball. If they're good in the air, they're decent. If they're good in the air and of a decent height, they shouldn't be losing headers. If the ball's getting pumped up long, if you're just doing it like mixing up now and again. I don't know if you're chasing a game or if you've worked out there's a weakness and Kane's getting the better of the centre backs and the flick on to, I don't know, if you're working on the flick on to Son or to whoever it might be on the right hand side, then yeah. But as a sole tactic, nah.
Is it dependent on the opponent? Is it like
it does very much?
If we like kind of take just Harry Kane's form at the moment, which I agree with Darius, like we know we can expect a lot better from him, but maybe the question is like if you were to drop him, to go back to the question, maybe you drop him in the matches where you kind of feel like you will have a team that will be dominating you, kind of like the City, right? Where that's maybe why it worked, just because City are going to be the one with dominating the ball. City are going to be the one that are going to expose themselves by getting too far forward. And then you play through the lines and basically beat them on the counter. With maybe Harry Kane's current form, you probably would go for that Stevie B kind of Sonny Lucas front line. But if it is going to be, let's say, a team like a Burnley or a team like, even a Brentford who sit very far back as well, when you think about it, you probably would maybe play someone like Harry Kane because he is the one that would be able to maybe kind of find the pass that no other forward in our front line could do. So maybe at the moment, it's just very game dependent. It's very, opponent dependent. I don't know. Maybe someone
I agree with that. On that. So would okay. So it wasn't the next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you think Harry Kane is mobile enough to play in a fluid front three that's going to have the movement, if you, let's say, akin to someone like Liverpool, maybe even to Manchester City, even say to a degree Manchester United? Do you think that Kane would fit into that fluid front three system? Dave, what's your thoughts on that?
First of all, my thoughts are, I'll be honest with you, no other team with a world-class striker would talk about dropping the world-class striker for some big games and taking them out and playing them against likes of Burnley's and all. Look, for me, I'll be honest with you, we're talking about a fluid front three. It sounds fantastic. We just don't have it. Bergwijn's erratic. The Celso's erratic. They're all erratic. No matter who plays in there, they're erratic. The final pass is crap. In fact, the last couple of crosses that have actually come into the box have been from Harry Kane.
Yeah.
They've been from Harry Kane. The one to Reguilon against Everton, from Harry Kane. The one for Son against Newcastle, from Harry Kane. The thing is, I've seen us get the balls into crossing positions. It's not coming in. It's not coming in. Like, the thing is, I get what you're asking, but no other club with a world club striker, with a world-class striker, would talk about dropping the striker to suit a fluid system for the likes of a Bergwijn and a Lucas Moura.
Okay, so based on this season, not one last season, the season before, because obviously his numbers last season were very, very, very high in terms of his goals and assists. But based on this season's performances and this season's stats, I'll come to you firstly, Darren. What reason, other than some of the things we've already touched on, what reason do you have for keeping Harry Kane in this starting 11?
Because nobody,
other than just because he's Harry Kane,
because nobody else can score goals. That's literally, in my opinion, that's the only reason.
Hold on, go back. He hasn't scored goals. Remember, 10 games in the Premier League, 1 goal, no assist.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It's almost a catch-22 because I think that it's not his fault.
Forget last season. Based on this season's performances, that's the question I'm asking. I want you to answer that, please.
I've said if it was me, I would drop him because I don't think I think he's been terrible. I think since the Euros, everybody was gassing him up because he scored in the knockouts in the Euros. He was awful in the Euros. England weren't good in the Euros, and he carried on the form, like I said. But it's just you can't, like, unfortunately, we don't have the benefit of having sort of goal-scoring midfielders or goal-scoring wingers. We don't have that. We're not Liverpool. You can compare us to Liverpool, but you can't because Salah's out here banging 15 goals already this season from a right wing position, and Mane will always be a threat. Even though he's not been good, he will always be a threat. Same with Chelsea midfield. Even Reece James and Ben Chilwell have about 4, 5, 6 goal involvements between them each for their team, and it's like Reguilon hasn't even scored a goal for Tottenham yet. So you can't compare us to these teams who are getting goals from everywhere in their team. Chelsea have 17 different goal scorers this season. It's not going to happen. So
Ricky hasn't even hit the target
until we get those players in that can actually, contribute to goals or contribute to our creativity. It's not anybody. Like, you can't help but have to play Kane. Unfortunately, like I said, if there was a player there who, even if they weren't as good as Harry Kane, but if I knew that they could put in the same performances as Harry Kane, same output, same quality or similar quality, I would drop Harry Kane. But we drop Harry Kane and you bring in Lucas Moura against the team, unless it's a team like Leeds, and I probably would play Harry Kane just so he could probably farm a couple goals against Leeds because he will get opportunities. But if you play in a team like Leeds, and maybe you could drop Harry Kane because you know you're going to get opportunities. But you play against a Burnley, you play against a team like that who are going to put every man back, 2 banks of 4 and a bank of 2. You're going to need something. And at the end of the day, if you get a penalty, that's the one person I'd want to take a penalty. So even just for having penalties, for him being on the pitch for penalties, I would keep Harry Kane. It's unfortunately, there's not much you can do when you don't have other alternatives and everybody else is playing bad. There's nothing you can do, Sam, unfortunately. You can play as bad as he wants for the next 5 games. I don't think he'll get dropped. In January, though, if we bring in a striker and we bring in a creative midfielder, potentially a winger, then I could say, right, if Harry Kane's not playing well, drop him.
Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is if he got injured, we'd have to do something else.
But that's if he got injured for anybody else.
Well, no, if he got suspended, we'd have to do something else. So what I'm saying is, just because he's fit, but he's not playing well, doesn't mean say he cannot not play. The point is I'm trying to make is and I'll come to you next, Mike. What has he done this season for you to say that he shouldn't be dropped? That's all I want to ask. The question is.
That's a tough question. I mean,
it's hard.
He hasn't done. He hasn't played well this season. I can't sort of debate that he has played well. He hasn't played well, but I can't. When I look at that Tottenham squad and how everyone's playing at the moment, I can't say with my chest puffed out that right, drop Harry Kane and this is what we should do, because they, like, I think David or Jack's mentioned it, or even Darius have mentioned it. You look at Lo Celso, he's pony at the moment. Ali, he's not up to scratch. You look at Bergwijn, he couldn't hit a barn door. You look at all these players. I mean, you'd be better off going down the bookies and betting Tottenham not to score a goal than to score a goal, because half these boys can't hit the target. I mean, Reggie, it was harder for him to miss, surely, than to score. Yet the stewards are probably still waiting for the ball to come down. I mean, I just struggle. Where the problem is on that is Kane should have been in Reggie's position, and I would have put my money on it. He'd have hit the back of the net, and even in the poor form. But I look at the Tottenham side, and I
It was Harry Kane with that cross also to Reggie.
It was, and he may be in bad form, but there might be just that one moment of genius whereby he's picked a pass out that's created a goal scoring opportunity. I.e., would hope Son might be on the end of it rather than Reggie, and he puts the ball in the back of the net. You look at Moura. I mean, there's no player in that side that you can just say, you know what, let's take out. I'm even going with Son. Take out Harry Kane and put Son or put whoever there. That I don't have confidence that they would do a better job than what Harry Kane is. I'm not saying Harry Kane is undroppable. I'm not saying that he is playing well. I just think that us as a football club or a football team in the Premier League are far more dangerous, even if they're a little bit out of form. But they've got, you look at Son and look at Kane, they've got that, just takes one moment and they could hit the ball in the back of the net, even if they're playing badly. And if you take one or two of you take one of them out of that equation, we just haven't got that fear factor, because every team that plays us, even if they are bad form at the moment, every team will be still fearful that Harry Kane's on the pitch or Son's on the pitch. If you've got Son out left and you've got Harry Kane in the middle, that's two problems for a back line to be thinking about.
The only team to score less goals than us is Norwich. That should basically.
But this is the thing, though.
We only scored 9 goals this season in the league.
Let me ask David the question. The same question, because I like these hard questions. And then I'm going to ask Jack something.
This one is hard.
I'll let you answer it as well, Jack. I'll come to David first. Based on this season, sorry, not last season. What right, if that's the right phrase, what right has he got to be in the team? You tell me.
Okay.
Apart from he's England captain. Go on. 2
things. First of all, I don't make the stats. Harry Kane does, so hate on him, but he's our top scorer this season. Whether people like to count the Europa League conference or not, at the end of the day, if he didn't score against Paxton Road, we would have been out. If he didn't score against FC Moura, potentially we would have went out. You know, if he didn't have his goal involvements the other night, potentially if we lost that, we were out. So Harry Kane's goals has kept us in the Europa Conference League. So we can disrespect them all we want, but at the end of the day, I think we should be thanking them because we're in it and not out of it. If we were out of it, we'd be getting slaughtered right now. Yeah. As well, the next thing, Shane, I'm going to flip the question and I'm going to aim it back at you. Shane, you tell me who deserves to come in ahead of Harry Kane based on what they've done this season.
Okay. All right. That's a good question as well.
It's a tough question.
It's a very tough question. So I'm going to go by the manager that we have now. Now, if it was Nuno and it was Nuno playing or Nuno managing, I would say it's very, very difficult to see Harry Kane not playing. However, based on Conte's abilities, based on the way I've seen Conte play with other players in this 3-4-3, 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it system, I've seen that there's abilities to be able to play different players that have more mobility. Because I don't think Harry Kane's the most mobile player in the world, in my opinion. If he was simply just being in the box player, I would say, he's probably the number one player to have, maybe in world football on his day. However, this linking of play, which we've seen from last season, which he tried to do in England, which he didn't need to do for England, suggests to me that maybe he wants to be a different type of player. So if that's the case, the type of player that he is, he probably should be playing more as a number 10. Now, if you're going to play a number 10, I would say, maybe play him in that hole and then play 2 and 5. If you're going to play a flat 3-4-3, I would play Son down the middle. I would maybe have one of Bergwijn, one of Hill, one of Moura.
Sam, but do they deserve? But that's not the question. You're dodging the question, Sam. Do they deserve to get in?
And have they played well?
Okay. The answer to the question, if it's based on numbers, they don't deserve. But my point is, I want to see if they can. So I won't know that if I just keep playing Harry Kane. I want to see what we did against City, possibly, because that's when we thought Harry Kane was done. He was gone. So we were finding ways that we were going to play without him. And I saw a way that we could play without him. Nuno showed us that. That was in a 4.
The thing is, these players have had runs in the team at some stage or another. Every single one of these players. And they've been absolutely diabolical and they haven't took their chances.
Bergwijn couldn't buy a goal.
But do you think with a goal, you know how we, sorry, Sam, do you know how we say, obviously, with Harry Kane, we have to play him through sort of the bad form? And I know these players have been on bad form since they signed their contract with Tottenham, but do you think, I really do strongly believe in Bergwijn, and as much as that may be me sort of wishful thinking, I do think that it really is a confidence thing with him, as much as that is cliche. I do think as soon as he bags a goal, he will feel more confident. Certain players, I don't think that will happen, but I just feel like the fact that there's been 3 managers, the fact that certain players have been in and out of the team, there is only one or a few players that regardless of the manager, will always get played. So it's kind of like their form doesn't really matter.
Just on that point then. So this is what I'm saying. So the players that have all been with Spurs we've all seen Harry Kane, regardless of whether he's 20% fit, 30% fit, will play. Same for the things that happened in all the cup finals that we've seen. The one against City we had, the Champions League final, wasn't supposed to play, but did. We are reliant on him. So all the players see that as well. So if you're not going to drop that player, regardless of what he does, these players, and this is what I'm saying about Son. For me, I thought Son was like, he almost looked like the man in that City game. His shoulders were back, his chest was out. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I can take this mantle. We get Harry Kane back into the side, and he doesn't seem, I'm not saying he's not going to get there, but he doesn't seem to be that player who wanted to have all that responsibility from before, because of the fact that we've got a player that nobody wants to drop, that nobody says is not going to be on the bench. So why can't we at least see for one game whether or not somebody else can step up to?
Is Leeds the right game, Sam?
Leeds is the right game for that. You're going to get opportunities to score. 4
points off Arsenal. I feel like this current situation, I do understand what you're saying. I 100% agree with you. I just feel like you can't do that at the moment. Like, I'm looking at the table now. We are slowly falling away. And I know top 4 is a very difficult thing to look at, but West Ham are in the Europa League and they're on 23 points. Arsenal haven't lost a game since they lost their 3. We are starting to fall behind in points, and we are on -7 goal difference. We scored 9 goals this season. Like,
so I'm gonna do this what David did to me. I'm gonna flip it back. So what if we play Harry Kane against Leeds and he doesn't score? Then what?
That's actually a difficult one, because Leeds are especially so wide open at times. And you would even argue as well, though.
That's my point.
As well, though, let's say, with Harry Kane dropping into space, they do that man marking kind of system as well. Leeds, that kind of to a degree kind of suits Harry Kane, because it won't be, 3 players converging on him. It'll be just one trying to handle him. And if he turns him the wrong way, if he's able to give that old Harry Kane kind of, shifting of the hips, he'll probably find someone in behind that he'll either slip through, or even, he might lose somebody in the box.
I'm not having this, Jack. I'm not having this.
So I feel like I'm going to go back to my original point.
What if he doesn't score?
But if he has a good, what if he has a good game?
That's what I was saying, though, Sam. That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't score in that one, it's another huge worry. It's another huge worry if he doesn't score in that one. Yeah, because it really is one of those games where he kind of has to score. He kind of has to score against a team like that.
If he doesn't,
that's my answer.
If he doesn't score, but he creates the goals, you take it, wouldn't you? I mean, if Harry Kane doesn't score, but he gets what, I don't know, say a couple of assists, I don't think anyone here would be like disappointed with the fact that Harry Kane's not scored. If he's not scoring, but he's creating, even if he's still going through a bad patch, I'd take that on the chin and be like, well, we're still scoring and still winning games. Yeah, Harry Kane's not scoring, which we're all accustomed to, but he's creating and he's getting assists.
That was my original answer too.
Here's my gripe with things, right? So we always talk about Tottenham. We want them to be a big club. We want to win trophies. Now, if this was happening at any other big club around Europe that do win trophies, they'd be asking why the supply isn't happening. You wouldn't hear Bayern Munich fans ask, oh, Lewandowski's not scoring. What's going on with Lewandowski? Because they'd be saying, well, what's the story with the creativity? Why aren't we creating chances? We need to look at this. We need to address this. But at Tottenham, because Harry Kane has been one of our most consistent world-class players, people just expect him to keep carrying the mantle all the time. But the thing is, other players have to chip in and help. Other players have to help him, especially at times. Every world-class player goes through a bit of a down period. But they have players that are stepping in and helping them. Now, the thing is, we're looking at it all wrong. We should be questioning, why aren't we putting balls into the box? Do we have the players in midfield to be able to play through the middle, to be able to create clear-cut chances? Because if we want to talk about trophies and act like a big club and compare ourselves to big clubs, we have to start acting like them. We have to start asking the questions that they would be asking. Because Bayern Munich haven't got to the level of success they've got because all of a sudden the strikers stop performing and they just replace them. They will look at the reasons why. They'll fix the reasons why. If it's creativity, they'll go and fix that problem. And that's why they win trophies. We have to start doing that at Tottenham Hotspur. We do. Look, it's very easy to make everything a Harry Kane issue and just ignore everything else. But we've seen it time and time again at Tottenham. We're already 6-7 months behind the curve sometimes. You know, we'll sell Harry Kane, and then, you know, we'll realise, oh, well, our midfield, we don't have enough ball players in midfield. We don't have this, we don't have that. And it's just going to take us longer to get out of the problem. We should be keeping Harry Kane and putting the investment into the players that are going to supply him. Because the record and the stats show, if you supply goals or if you supply chances, Harry Kane will get you goals. Now, what's changed between this season and last season? We're just not creating any chances. That's the only thing.
And the fact he wanted to leave as well. I do think that has a big factor on it. I do think his mentality, and not mentality, but his mental is changed. I can see in Harry Kane's performances sometimes that he's not putting in 100%. And I may be just making an assumption, but I can see that. And I don't think it's wrong of anybody to suggest that if you've we looked at the game, the very last game of the season. I can't remember who it was against. Very last game of the season. Him, Dele Alli, and Son were hugging like they were never going to see each other again. And I do think that has a lasting effect on you. And I do think not getting your move, and I do think the Euros getting so close, like you said, David, in the final of the Carabao, then your manager getting sacked, who he did respect a lot. Then you go to the Euros and you lose in the final. I do think it's a lot. But at the same time, Harry Kane can be dropped if there was an adequate replacement for him on the bench who could supplement sort of that goal scoring threat that he has, because
we're just
at the end of the day,
scorer. We've never had a third goal scorer. It's always been Sonny and Kane. It's either we rely on Sonny or we rely on Kane. And the reason we bought Stevie B in was to be the third goal scorer. The reason we play Lucas is to be the third goal scorer. The reason even Tanguy or Gio plays technically to be that either third creator or that third goal scorer. And then we've actually, maybe under the reign of Steve Hitch and whatnot, we've failed in every way and supplying the team with the third goal scorer or a third creator. And so that's maybe also part of the problem. And the thing is,
Jack, we haven't had that for Vinicius, Llorente, Janssen, the list goes on. These aren't adequate replacements for Harry Kane if he was to get injured, as he does, which is what confuses me. I just don't see why you don't invest in a striker when you're playing 4 competitions. I understand, cool. As a striker moving, you're not going to want to move to Tottenham if Harry Kane is the main man. But there's now an opportunity for me, a striker, to come in and see, look, we play 3-5-2, so I can either play with Harry Kane, or if Harry Kane's not playing, I can be the person to take his place. And I just think that with competition, like you said, look at the Chelsea team, look at the City team. If they play bad, they could get dropped the next week. But they might come back in the week after. So it's tactical based on the opposition. And it's also the fact that there's 17, 18, 19 world-class players ready to take your place if you're not good enough. And it's just not that at Tottenham. So how many world-class midfielders do we have? How many world-class attackers do we really have?
So is it just creativity? Because what I was going to ask in the next question would be, what do you think needs to happen for Harry Kane to improve his goal scoring this season? David's talked about creativity. I'll ask you first, Darius. Is it just the lack of creativity that it is, or is there something else along with the facts of the things you've mentioned about the Euros, etc., wanting his leave? I'd probably
say 3 things. I'd probably say, like I said, the Euro fatigue, the overall fatigue of getting almost there with Tottenham, and I guess, and not feeling. But then, as Harry Kane, you keep going as a professional, so I can't really give him that. So I'll give him the Euro fatigue. I think that's 100% a thing. Captain of England, you're playing almost every game. I get that. David's right. I mean, if you've got a player who can look, I was watching a few videos. I was watching particularly Chelsea versus Tottenham when Conte was here. Eriksen was so important to this team. People don't really give him sort of the credit and what he actually did to allow players in front of him to do what they did. Ali, for me, isn't Ali without Eriksen. And if Eriksen isn't doing what he's doing, Ali isn't having an 18-19 goal season, because a lot of the time balls are being pinpoint put onto these players' feet. I remember the goal he scored against Chelsea with the ball. I don't think it was Eriksen who played it, but the goal against Chelsea where he took the ball down from a run being made and he chipped the keeper. The goal against Chelsea where Eriksen plays a perfect pass into the box and he first touches it into the goal. These are, without Eriksen, these goals don't happen. So I do think that if you bring in a midfielder of his quality who can find a pass like that, and there is on Ndombele, but Ndombele is more of I'd say a threaded passer. I think he can find through balls on the floor a lot easier than a lofted pass. That lofted pass is so important. You don't have to play a lofted pass to somebody's feet. If you've got Harry Kane busy in a defender or a centre back, and you've got Son or Reguilon or Emerson running into the space behind, caused by Harry Kane dropping in, you could play that long ball into the space. You could pick up the second ball and be 20, 30, 40 yards up the pitch. So there's room
so
for
then Harry Kane's being used as a almost like a, what's the word I'm using?
A decoy.
A foil, a decoy, yes.
But that's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, he was doing
he's
that.
not scoring goals.
But but this is what you said, Sam, and this is what I'll say. You said, I don't mind if Harry Kane's not scoring goals, if he's playing well, if he's pinging balls, if he's getting assists. He's not doing that at the moment, which is the reason why that you're feeling like this. If Harry Kane was playing how he was,
dropping into a space for someone to play over the top is not an assist.
That's not an assist, but that's tactical, and that makes a difference to the team. If he doesn't drop into that space for Son to run in behind, he doesn't score. Same way, if Ali, when he was in his prime, wasn't running in behind Harry Kane, he's not got the opportunities to score. So
why can't
it's not an assist.
Why can't another player do what Harry Kane's doing in terms of that dropping in, so he can run
got the intelligence to do that?
Because that's
one
Harry
thing. Hasn't, or the other players.
Other players.
Who hasn't? So Mike, I'll ask then. So what can Conte do to get the best out of Harry Kane? Because I'm trying to work out all the things you said. And I agree. There's so many things I agree with, but it's almost like, well, we haven't got anybody else. So we're just going to continue on.
Sam.
We don't. Hold on, we're just going to continue on. If he doesn't score against Leeds, one of the teams we've all said, I'm not saying he's not going to score because I hope he does and if he plays. But if he doesn't, we're all saying, right, you know what? It's not the service. We're going to continue on 10, 11, 12, 15 games, 1 goal Harry Kane. Are we just going to do that to 20? When is there a point? What point do we say, okay, he's not playing very well, his head's not in it, there's no motivation, I need to do something else, which is what I expect Conte to do, because there's no way on earth that Conte is going to let him get to 20 games and have 2 goals on it. It's not going to happen. So what does he need to do to get the best out of it?
These next 5 games are easy games for him to score, by the way.
I was going to say, we've got an easy run. Well, I say easy run. We've got a favourable run-in for Harry Kane to hit the back of the net, or at least attempt to hit the back of the net. I honestly think with Conte now in charge, he will. I don't know how. I don't know how he will, because if he did, I'd probably be in the Tottenham seat myself. But he will get the best out of Harry Kane. He will find a way to tune into Harry Kane and get the best out of him. If Harry Kane isn't scoring, but he's either creating chances or he's affecting play that allows the wingers or midfielders, if his movement's causing defenders trouble, which is allowing the others to be brought into play or to run in and create chances or have chances or hit the back of the net, then I'd take that. I really would. But I think Conte...
Lucas Moura does that.
No, he doesn't, mate. Lucas Moura is a headless chicken, mate.
Lucas Moura doesn't create chances by running past people. Come on,
he runs into traffic.
He doesn't create chances because it's the final third.
He doesn't know what he's doing, mate. Let alone the opposition.
Are we talking about assists, or are we talking about someone creating an opportunity for someone to score? Because there's 2 different things here. Lucas Moura does create opportunities for people to score. Lucas Moura, in my opinion, is an impact player, and we could drop him at the drop of a hat. But we're saying that Harry Kane, if he does the same thing, oh no, Harry Kane doesn't do it, so he's undroppable. What's the difference?
Lucas Moura doesn't know, does he? He doesn't know what he's doing. He runs into traffic 9 times out of 10, which the opposition...
I'm saying creating opportunities. We've all seen, everybody said here, Lucas Moura, when he came off against, when he got the boost from Nuno, he was our best player. So he's doing something. But we're all going to be the same thing saying when Lucas Moura scored a hat-trick against Ajax, it was in the semi-finals. You know what I mean? Harry Kane comes back, wow, out of the team. So what
Lucas Moura,
that's different than Harry Kane. That's all I want to know.
Lucas Moura, he's only creating opportunities through his own madness. He's not thinking, right, if I go down there, or if I go down there, or if I go through the middle, or if I clip that ball over, he hasn't got a clue what he's doing. He's one of the intelligence and Lucas Moura, they don't fit together, because Lucas Moura doesn't have a clue, generally does not have a clue what he's doing. I'd say 9/10 of the time, he hasn't got a Scooby.
You mean on the final pass or something? He doesn't know what he's doing, because he does know it's
his decision.
He doesn't know how to take any person
his
on.
His decision making is terrible. Like, there's been opportunities where he could have. I think was it against Vitesse? I can't remember if it was against Vitesse. I think it was, where I think it was Harry Kane was the better pass, and he's made he's gone for the harder option. And a more intelligent player would be thinking, hold a minute, go for the easy pass, slot it through to your best striker in the team when he puts the ball in the back of the net. But Lucas Moura, he's just one tunnel vision. He's just he hasn't
So
got that.
he's not been one of our better players this season so far.
He has been, but
That's my point. I'm trying to say.
default.
But he's not been good.
What has he done to be one of our better players? What has he done then? And it's not just running into dead ends.
Sam, you're looking at a Nuno team. Sorry, go on, David.
Has done is Lucas Moura will pick up the ball and drive with the ball. But when he gets into that final third where it's actual physically creating chances, whether it's putting the ball on the plate for someone, putting the ball in behind, chipping it, he's absolutely headless. But what Lucas Moura does do is he works incredibly hard. He'll go back into midfield. He'll pick up the ball and he'll run up to the final third. But he usually gets taken out. But apart from that, when he's not taken out, we can't deny he runs into a lot of blind alleys a lot of times. The passing and the shooting is not there in the final third. But what Lucas Moura will do is get you to the final third, which is something we don't have in the team.
And what he will do in his defence is he will press the opposition into a mistake. But I still maintain, in terms of intelligence and what you'd need, because what you need from a number 10 or from that on the right wing is someone that's got a bit of, I use the word again, intelligence. Someone that knows when to make a pass or when to make the run. I just fail to see any of that with Lucas. Don't get me wrong, he's a great impact sub. He is a great impact sub, especially if you're chasing the game. If you're chasing the game and you need someone to press the defence, he will press the defence, and there's a good chance that he will make the opposition make a mistake. But he's not what we need.
80% of players can do that. At the end of the day, in modern football, 80% of players can do that. And Ben Holt made a point. Look at Christopher Nkunku. There's ways players play. When he plays, he will always try to get into the box. From when he's made a pass, and this is probably down to sort of the clubs that he's been at. He's been at PSG, he's been at Leipzig. They coach that. But when Nkunku makes a pass, he doesn't admire a pass. He knows what he's going to do next. He's going to either get into the box or provide a space. He's going to be there. He's going to either provide a goal or assist. He wants to. That's his end game. Lucas's end game is, okay, I've beaten 3 players now. That seems to be it for me. So it's like you said, it's Sam. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. But when I'm saying that Lucas has been the best player before Conte joined, it's because everybody else was so bad. Nobody really was doing the running. Nobody wanted to work hard. He stood out because nobody was doing anything. I'm telling you now, these players down tools, and I tweeted this a week ago or a while ago. I said, I don't know whether to be angry at these players for downing tools and getting this manager and getting Conte in, or actually me realizing that these players have actually down tools and have actually got something about them. Because I know for a fact a lot of these players are going to turn their form around, turn up because Antonio Conte is there. The difference is, and it's the way we play. I've seen now Conte wants to limit the amount of touches, just basically all over the pitch. He wants to limit the amount of touches all over the pitch. Everything's quicker. It's 1 to 2 touches, and it's creating space for people, and it will create opportunities.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, you do not get this over 2 weeks. You do not get this over 2 games. Conte has not joined a team partway through season since 2007. So he's always had at least 6 weeks of pre-season to get this idea, because it is a philosophy and we've all agreed and accepted. And I'm very happy to see sort of an idea and a philosophy going through the team now. It's going to take a while for him to go to put that and to instill that into the team. And I do believe in 6 weeks' time, once people know where to be, where to go from goal kicks, from corners, you'll see a lot more smoothness. But at the moment, I'm seeing a lot of sort of chances not being created because maybe the players haven't gotten used to sort of the way that Conte wants to play. I see that the 1 and 2 touches is there, but the accuracy of the passes might not always be there because they haven't just been gelled and used to that. I just think it will come with time. But while we're saying that, sorry,
Jack a question. Can I just ask Jack a question? I want to get onto the next, almost to the next point of it, but it's. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to ask it anyway. It might be a bit controversial for some, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Given that a lot of people have said, I think Harry Kane's his legs have gone, looks like he's not quite got that sharpness anymore. Do we think, and I'll ask Jack firstly, do we think Harry Kane's past his best?
That's a difficult one because he just had basically the best season he could have ever had. So it is very difficult. Will he ever achieve the best season that he ever had, which was last season? I probably would say no. Unless he were maybe to be put in a side where he isn't, probably to a degree, if he isn't at Spurs anymore, maybe he could top his, last season. Maybe that would be my answer, which isn't a bit of a diplomatic answer. Because his last season was his best ever season. Will he ever achieve those numbers again? I don't really think so, because I think those numbers are pretty much unbeatable when you really think about it. So my answer would be no, he's not going to achieve his best ever season. Do I think he's going to hit 15, 20 goals in just the Premier League at some point again? Absolutely.
So is he past his best?
No.
Because
because that's the thing, Sam.
If
I think he's going to hit unachievable numbers again, no. Do I think he's going to reach world-class numbers again? Yes. So is he past his best? No.
Okay, David.
I know that sounds like a politician.
That's a proper politician. That's a Biden answer there. Definitely a Biden answer. I'm going to come to David. David, what you say? Is he past his best?
Not nowhere near past his best. Look, Harry Kane will continue to score goals well into his 30s. Look, I can see why people are saying it, legs and ankle injuries and stuff like that. Some people say about his age, but then in the same breath, they talk about bringing in a defender the same age and stuff like that. So, look, at the end of the day, he's not past his best. Once we create sort out the creativity problem in behind him, it will all be resolved. Because, look, just thinking on it, we spent, I don't know how much, 30 million on Bergwijn, another, 60 to 80 on Ndombele, how much on Lascelles, so 45. All players that were brought in to solve the problem, to create the chances, and not one of them have hit the ground running to do it. That bad, they've been that crap that Harry Kane actually had to do it himself last season, so he was dropping deep to do it. He will never, ever reach them numbers again, but he's not past his best, Shane, because if we spent the money correctly in the first place and we brought players in that actually were coming in to do what they're paid to do, which is to create chances for the guy, he's the guy that's going to take them.
Let me just quickly say to Sean before. Sean, if you wanted to ask a question, you haven't put it in the super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way, Sean. Much, much, much appreciated. But put your question in there so we can answer that to the panel. Anyway, Mike, I'll come to you then. Same question. Is Harry Kane past his best?
No, I agree.
Oh, you said yes. Did you say yes?
Oh, no, I agree with Jack and David. I don't think he's past his best, and I agree with their reasons. I think, as with any world-class striker, when they get older, they adapt their game according to their age. If they're a bit slower, you sometimes see the striker, like Wayne Rooney, for example, start at the top, end up being a centre midfielder. But I think with time, if Harry Kane will develop his game as a striker, but I wouldn't be surprised in the future when he may be in his sort of early 30s, mid 30s, whatever, that he ends up becoming a number 10, because he has got the potential to be a good number 10 because he can pick a pass. He's got that vision
Sheringham developed
a bit like I mean, Sheringham never had pace, did he? No. I mean, you could probably argue that with Kane to a certain degree, but I don't think he'll I don't think he's past his best, not yet. I mean, for a striker, as long as he's hitting the back of the net, and he's doing it at the top level, then yeah.
Okay, so I'll ask the question slightly differently to Darius. If he's not past his best, what can we expect as like a minimum expectation from him then?
What, Harry Kane's levels, or sort of just in general? For me, Harry Kane's levels, even if he's not his best, I still expect 20 goals a season from Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane models. I don't care. I think Harry Kane models his career on Lewandowski, in my opinion. And Lewandowski has, at 31 years old, or 32, 33, I don't know how old he is now, has improved and has kept his body to a physical condition where he's able to, and I don't get me wrong, he's surrounded by incredible players, but he doesn't need to do a lot of work with Lewandowski, which is why he doesn't get injured that often, because he's in the space, he's in the box, he's there when he needs to be. Harry Kane is just as intelligent of a striker as that. And I think if Harry Kane is just told to stay in the box and operate like Ronaldo does, like Lewandowski does, within an 18-yard area, Harry Kane can bag 20 goals a season easy, because you don't need pace to be able to finish. All you need to do is have intelligence to be in an area where you are and put it in the back of the net. Cavani, another example of that for me. He makes absolutely incredible movement and will always have chances to score just because of his intelligence and his movement. So I do think that Harry Kane, and maybe I am expecting a lot from Harry Kane, and that's probably why I think he's been so poor this season and so poor in the summer. But that's Harry Kane for me. He's had 30 goals in the season. He got 24 goals and 17 assists, or whatever it was, in 21 goals and 17 assists in a season. I mean, I don't care, to be honest, if Harry Kane's having a bad season. I expect 20 goals from Harry Kane every season if he's fit for me. I don't care, to be honest. And
that's in the league or that's in general?
That's in the league, in my opinion. I think in the league.
I'm telling one goal.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I think that if Harry Kane is playing to his strengths and is given the opportunity to create, if we bring in players who are going to create, or if Harry Kane is going to just basically have an incredible season like he has done, because he's gone supernova like he did last season. But if he's not going to do that, we're going to have to bring in players to create. And if we do bring in players that create, like Eriksen's of the past, Harry Kane will easily score 20. I'm telling you now, Harry Kane does not need to try to score that many goals that season, because there's evidence in the Premier League and in other leagues to suggest that you can just be an intelligent player and have an incredible finishing ability and still score plenty of goals. Because Lewandowski does it in the Champions League, Benzema does it in the Champions League. I can give you so many examples of strikers in their 30s who are golden strikers who are still going now, who are probably better now. They're probably better now.
I wouldn't say that necessarily that they'd potentially or necessarily say that they would cut it in the Premier League. I think Lewandowski would probably struggle in the Premier League.
Nah. I think you put him in a City team. Team, he scores 20, 30 goals. Lewandowski never struggles in the Premier League. I'm telling you now.
Before we get to Lewandowski, let me just read out Sean's comment, because that's what you was. My missing text was, "Welcome to the Kane Can Do No Wrong Club." It's done for. It's not me. I'm trying to be devil's advocate, at least give a reason.
It's not saying
you want to bring in Lucas Moura. You want to bring in Lucas Moura to replace Kane. I'm like, nah.
This is the thing. It's not saying you can't do anything wrong. What we're saying is there's no one that is capable or showing the same sort of levels that could come in and do a job in place of Harry Kane.
I just think the club is so full that, Shane didn't get in. He was told, got to come back in 10 years. It's a club list. It's too long. Got to wait for another member to leave, and so he's just frustrated.
The thing is,
everything a Harry Kane issue. No one wants to talk about Son. No one wants to talk about Lucas. No one wants to talk about the creativity coming from midfield. No one wants to talk the fact that we can't pass the ball from defence to midfield. No one wants to talk about any of that. Straight away, it's just straight to Harry Kane. Look, Harry Kane does do things wrong. You know what I mean? But all we're saying is there's plenty of other players out there that are probably hiding behind the criticism that Harry Kane is getting right now and not taking responsibility on themselves either.
I mean, what would be a good question? What would be a good question to ask is the Tottenham players. If you said to them, would you prefer right now for Harry Kane to be in or out of the team? What their responses be? It'd be interesting to see what they all said, because I personally would think they'd all say no, I still want him in the team, regardless if he's in bad form or not. But
I don't know. I think because it would free up a space for somebody else, so it depends on the.
No, the only person that wouldn't want it.
That's actually a bit of a scary question. I think the
only person that wouldn't want him to be. The only person that would say no would be Scarlett. He'd be like, he'd probably be there. Yeah, no, I don't want Kane in this side. I don't want to get in there. But
I'd say Gil might say that. I'd say quite a few players might say that.
Score goals in this team right now.
Okay, so look, I'm going to ask you, David. I'm going to ask you because I like asking you sharp questions. Because when I'm on your channel, you do exactly the same. I'm going to ask you another one. Based on what Darius has said, that Harry Kane's a 20-goal in his league scorer. If he doesn't get 20 goals this season, is he a failure for Spurs this season?
Well, it depends if being your top scorer at the end of the season, Shane, is a failure.
He got out of it. He got out of it. How did you do that one? Shit.
No, look, if he finishes top scorer, I wouldn't deem that as a failure. Look, at the end of the day, it's a team sport. You win as a team and you fail as a team. And I firmly believe that, look, we all have our favourites, right? But at the end of the day, you lose as a team as you win as a team. But right now, it seems to be that we lose, it's Harry Kane's fault. We win, it's credit to everybody else. I don't understand it.
I think Harry Kane's been getting away with it, to be fair. I think Harry Kane's been getting off quite light with his performances. In all honesty, if I'm holding him to the levels that I hold Harry Kane at for the past 5 years that I've seen him perform, I think Harry Kane's been shocking. I'm not going to lie to you. And the only reason I wouldn't drop him is because everybody else is shocking in that team in terms of creating chances and scoring goals. So you'd be kind of silly to drop the best person at it or the best of a bad bunch, because he is by far the best of a bad bunch in terms of form, and his form will probably turn around as well. That's the thing. If I'm going to put my money on anybody's form turning around, but if I'm going to put my money on anybody's form turning around this season, are you going to choose Steven Bergwijn or Harry Kane to turn their form around? Let's be really honest with ourselves. And who would you rather give the opportunity to turn their form around as well? And that's just me being honest, which is why I say Harry Kane still has to start, as much as I think he's been terrible.
Okay.
Thing is,
This
if
is
you
gonna be
create
the last
more
question.
chances,
Sorry. Go on, Mike. Go on.
I was just going to
Before I
say,
get the last question, because this is going to be a good one.
if you create more chances, you would expect Kane to score, and I think he will score. If there's more service to him, I honestly do think he will score.
Time will tell with the system and Conte. Time will tell, which
And
is why
Conte,
I'm not.
this is their mini pre-season. This international break
100%.
is their mini pre-season. I heard off the great. Well, I said the great. I heard from sources on social media, etc., that the players that he's got to work with are going to be getting roasted,
as they should.
Exactly.
I want to ask the last question, but I didn't like the way David got out of that last one. That was too good for me. That was well done. He slipped out of that one far too good. Well done, you, mate. All right, okay. Last question then to all of you. Do you see Harry Kane being a Spurs player for the season 22-23? Jack, firstly.
Oh gosh.
Mike's evil. They said laughing at you.
This is the time to stop me. What I wanted to say quickly to Shane, though, there's that one a long time ago you said that was actually an unbelievable question. That was I'm trying to remember how you phrased it, but the whole, what has he done, right this season or in the spot, and I'm still, coming up with answers for that. So that was an unbelievable one. Somehow I slipped out of that one too. This one I don't see myself slipping out of. If I'm being honest, I think he will be here, especially considering that Conte has come in. I think he is a guy that is motivated by maybe, managers that he respects. I think Antonio Conte is probably one of them. He's obviously not in the best form right now. So which team is going to take a chance on Kane? It seems like Daniel Levy and whatnot and Paratici do seem to really enjoy, having Kane at the club. They seem to, continue to want to have him there and have him be somewhat of the face of Tottenham, kind of like Sonny is. So maybe just on those lines alone, you probably would say he is going to stay. If it were someone like Nuno or maybe another like an Eddie Howe or something that came into the job, I would have said, he is on the way out. But the fact that Antonio Conte is now in, I think he's kind of the reason that we are keeping Kane. So I will see him in 22-23. But God, Shane, you really are killing us.
I tell you what. You know what it is? It's that camera. It makes the skin look so soft. I wish I had one of them. I want my skin to look that soft. David, you're not getting out of this.
Appreciate that.
David, you're not getting out of this one. You're next.
Look, I think Kane's here to stay. Now we have Conte. Just like Jack said, now we have Conte. I think you'll see him stay beyond the end of this season and going into next season. If it was Nuno, look, Eddie Howe, Harry Potter, any of them guys, I think Kane would have walked. At the end of the day, I've said it time and time again. I even said it when Mourinho sacked. You're at risk of losing Harry Kane if you don't bring in a manager that Kane can see winning trophies. At the end of the day, he's a world-class striker. He has the hunger. He wants to win trophies. Look, he's failed so many times before. So when he only has a few years left, he ain't staying at a club that are going through a transition phase, or he has to have a manager that he believes can deliver him trophies. And by all the sound bites coming out, he believes.
Yeah, David's good. He's like he's done this before. Comes to Mike then. Next season, does he start at Spurs?
Yeah, I think, again, I agree with what David and Jack said. I think the fact that Conte's come in has probably kept Harry Kane, like his desire to stay at Spurs. If we had got a manager in, like, I think it was David who said, like an Eddie Howe or someone mediocre, then
don't say that name. Oh my god, that made me laugh. Sorry, Mike.
Eddie Howe. It's good.
If you had a manager of that sort of level, then yeah, potentially he might have just thought, you know what, no, I'm going to push for a move in the summer. But Conte coming in, I think that changes a lot of things, and I fully expect Kane to be here in the summer. I honestly don't see him. As long as Conte's here, I see Kane staying.
Okay, that's probably a good point. I like that. Darius, you're the last one on there. What do you think?
To be honest, you just mentioned that name, Eddie Howe, and I'm just thinking to myself, last week I was mentally preparing myself for another tenure of Ryan Mason football, but Antonio Conte is literally the manager of my football club, so I'm so happy. I'm willing to give a lot of people
We're
time.
still in the honeymoon phase.
I might even be willing to give Dele Alli time. Like I said, I even gave Dele Alli an actual opportunity to get back into the team as a second striker, but we're not talking about that. I think Harry Kane will stay now that Conte's here. I don't see why he doesn't, to be honest. I mean, I think Rory Jennings mentioned it. Like, you can debate Conte being the best manager in the world, and certain people will not argue that point to you. So if you've got, in my opinion, top 3, top 5 managers in the world, or one of them in your team, that's all he's really asked for. He's only cried out for ambition. From what it seems like you said, through the grapevine, it seems like everybody's happy with this appointment. Inside, sort of in the upstairs of the club, the players, everybody seems happy. So it's a time thing. We are so, and it's only been 4 months, and it kind of just shows how bad it really was. But I still think we are all under that impression that we are playing Nuno ball still, and that we are 19th in the league for chances created, and we're still having 0 shots. Well, I mean, we still are having 0 shots in the whole game, but at least now I can see, and this is how I said this in the Everton stream, Poch's first season, I'm feeling very similar to this in terms of it wasn't great, and the players there were god awful, but somehow he was still actually managing to give me an idea of what he wanted to do. And I can see that already with Conte, and this has been, 2 games? I mean, the Vitesse game, the first minute I was excited. So I'm willing to give this guy time. I think January window, you'll probably see somebody come in terms of that striking position. From everything that I've heard, it seems like Conte has been given a green light to sort of say, if I want this player, you better get me him, and Tottenham will try their hardest to get him in. So I think Conte will see that some of these players are a bit comfortable. They need a bit of competition. So at least if Kane doesn't, like you said, Sam, in 10 games time, if Kane is on 2 goals in 20, he will have somebody to potentially say, look, come in, replace Kane. Kane, you have a break. You've played for almost a year straight. 3 games back, you'll be good. So yeah, no, it's a time thing. And yeah, Kane for me is staying. I do think he'll probably get a contract proposal with a release clause in there, probably earn about 300k a week. He'll be happy, mate. So yeah, no, I think it's positive. I think the only thing to remind ourselves is that Conte's only been here literally a week, and you will see more improvements. If we can see improvements in a week, we're going to see improvements after 6. So I'm patient. I'm very patient.
Conte has given him a new lease of life. That's what 100%. I would say.
I'm very, very patient.
If we can't be patient with Conte, then
you don't deserve him. You don't deserve him. Go, Mason.
Just shut the club down and just be done with it.
Like, bring Mason back. If we aren't going to give Conte time, bring Mason back. That's all I'll say to that.
Gotta do this before we go. We have a brand new member in the house, Tottenham Tantrum. Sure. Thank you very much. He becomes a YouTube member. Welcome to Paxton Road TV. Thank you very much, Tottenham Tantrum. Big up yourself indeed. Right. As you lot are good, you know. That's what I tried.
You've given us some tough questions today.
Yeah, you did.
You brought the worst kind today.
You've got us twisted. Some of these questions, it's like, flipping out. Where do you even begin? Like,
it was
I
good.
had times where my brain had to
kind of felt like
my brain had to catch up with them. I was just like, God, I can't even answer that right away.
I felt like I needed to go away and research before I come up with an answer, because I was like, I need more time on this.
It's David.
Give me about a week and I'll come back.
It's got to do with the Irish hospital. I know when he does a little rustling in the background, there was something. I was like, oh shit, he's got some questions here, and he does. So I can't mess about no more. I'm not messing about at all. So I'm going to come to you, David. Where can people find you if they don't know already?
Yeah, look, you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur, and you can find me over the Flat Cap Euro Talk as well. But I'm sure Jack's going to plug that. So look, guys, most important thing is look, these guys are from Paxton Road. They are putting an incredible amount of time and effort, guys. You know, make sure you keep supporting them. The channel memberships, grab them. You know, if you have it, help them out with a super chat too. It's a massive help to every content creator out there. But make sure you smash the like on all the streams, share them to your friends, share them to fellow Spurs fans, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. But thanks for having me, lads. Really appreciate it.
We like that. Round of applause for that one. And we have to come to the other flat capper in the house. It is Mr. Knicky. Where can people find you?
They can find us over at our second channel as well as the Irish Hotspur at Black Cap Euro Talk. I guess we've been talking about constantly, you know, if there was that third goal scorer, if there was that person that could maybe challenge Kane, you know, maybe you make him not so complacent with the position that he has. Basically over there, I've given plenty of suggestions and will continue to give plenty of suggestions. We've even also as well talking about, you know, what's been wrong with the midfield. There's no creativity. There's no person to link, you know, the midfield to the attack. I've answered some of those questions over there. We do a few scout reports, you know, as well, though. If you do enjoy what Darius has to say, I do try to get him on over there as much as I can. I do love what he has to say. So I would just say, if you enjoy Darius, maybe and me nerding out on maybe European players, maybe talking
very soon,
hopefully, a little bit of Lewandowski romance and things like that, you definitely could head
Yeah,
on over
Sam.
there.
Sorry, Jack, but Sam, you are whoever it was, Mike. Sorry, you're not gonna get away with what you said there. We will be having words about that comment.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
We will speak
I'm
about that
happy
off
to
stream.
debate
Sorry to
this.
interrupt you there, Jack, but we will speak about that off stream, Mike.
Let me.
Harry
I was
Kane
going to say. Let me finish and
Germany
echo
would be
though.
doing bits.
Let me echo though what David said. Though I was just going to say, everybody, I absolutely love this channel. I don't have very much time anymore to really watch any other Spurs YouTube channels, and this is the one that I always try to make time to watch. This is the one that when I get that notification, I click on it right away and I do watch it. So, like David said, grab those memberships, send in those super chats, and just continue to watch these guys because I really do worship these guys. I do find everything they have to say very entertaining. I've already heard the questions today. I was practically, looking left and right, thinking I couldn't even answer some of these. So it really does show that, that they know what they're doing over here. They know what they're doing.
It was, I had to, like I said, it's one of them topics where you've got to come with something.
Somebody stop me.
A lot of people just think, we can just talk about Harry Kane. No, he's droppable. No, we can't. And you don't really get the dialogue. There's got to be reasons why he's not playing. So we want to try and dig into that. And that's the reasons for asking the questions. And everybody's got the opinions. And I respect all the opinions of everybody that's watching, the opinions of everybody here. And all I do is try and play a bit of devil's advocate, do you know what I mean? To try and get the best at the show. And hopefully for the viewers, that's what it's done. So, David, Jack, Darius, and Mike, thank you very much. We've got someone trying to throw something in this web chat here. Don't know what they keep trying to do, but webcam.
I think it's Mike. I think it's Mike personally. I think it's Mike personally. I'm just gonna say that. I think it's Mike.
Everyone gave it to my webcam.
What's going on?
No, I thought I deleted that person.
But, I did as well.
Well, it's not even a person. It's spam, mate. It's spam.
Damn. Anyway, like I said, very good show. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a break, so we'll probably have another talking points next week. It won't be Harry Kane. We'll do something else, but there's other shows to look out for. So look out for Sid. Sorry, I keep saying Sid says Ask Sid on Friday. There won't be no Judge Jody next week. There's no lineup show from Darius this week. Or I don't know if you're doing anything England. I'm not doing anything England. I'm bored of watching.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them ones. So we look forward to the Leeds game. That'll be our next game for Spurs. Hopefully 3 points. Hopefully Conte will have had 2 weeks to get into some of these players, and maybe some of them won't make any more appearances because he will have just said, yep, you're not for me. But we'll see. Anyway, like I said, David, Jack, Darius, and Mike, thank you very much. This is Talking Points, and we are out.